we cannot be at peace. So no matter how much I try to come out here every day and smile,
Today's show.
We need your help. We're begging for your help.
145 days. And today, something devastating just came out that the media has been hiding since the beginning. A ransom note came to this news station, a second ransom note, and inside it, the kidnappers finally confessed. But not to police, not in court, in a message sent to a news station. And what they said destroys everything you thought you knew about Nancy Guthrie's case. They admitted she was dead. They apologized for it. They asked for money to return her body. And this message has been hidden from the public for 145 days, until today, when the media finally decided to tell the truth. For 145 days, major news outlets received this note. They knew Nancy was dead. They knew there was an apology. They knew the message came from her kidnappers. And they chose to keep it secret. Until today, until now, until Ashley Banfield and other outlets were finally permitted to tell the world what they knew all along. Nancy Guthrie did not vanish to be rescued. She vanished and she died, and the people who took her told the world in a ransom note that should have changed this entire investigation. Instead, the confession was buried. Investigators stayed quiet. And the family found out in a message that said their mother was gone and that her body could be returned for payment. Her name was Nancy Guthrie. She was 84 years old. She went to church every Sunday. She baked for her grandchildren. She was a mother, a grandmother, a woman who was loved. On January 31st, someone broke into her home at 2 in the morning. They knew her routine. They knew she was alone. They knew exactly how to get inside. By morning, she was gone. For 2 days, there was nothing. No word, no contact, nothing. Then, on February 2nd, almost 2 full days later, a ransom note came to 2 television stations in Arizona and to TMZ. The first note demanded cryptocurrency. It said Nancy was safe. It said she was scared, but safe. But then 4 days later, on February 6th, a second ransom note came, and this time it came only to one station, Cold News. And what it said changed everything. This is the truth that major news outlets have been hiding for 145 days. And you need to hear it. Subscribe right now and turn on every notification, because what comes next will expose what the media has been covering up and why Nancy's case went cold. According to the reporting coming out today, the second ransom note contained an apology, a sputtering and labored apology for Nancy's death. The note said her death was unintentional, an accident, but that she was dead and buried in nature. The kidnappers had her body. They wanted money for it, and they were apologizing that their plan went wrong, that the woman they grabbed didn't survive the abduction. Now here is what matters. Ashley Banfield confirmed today that journalists across the country knew about this from the beginning. They knew there was an apology. They knew what it said. They knew Nancy was dead based on what the kidnappers wrote. And they withheld the information. For 145 days, the family watched, the investigators searched, the public discussed theories about where Nancy was and whether she was alive. And the entire time, behind the scenes, the truth was known. The news director at Cold, Jessica Bobila, gave an interview about the second note, but she was extremely cagey. She wouldn't say what was inside. She wouldn't confirm the content. She only said she couldn't discuss those details out of respect for the family. But now we know why she was protecting that information. Because the message inside said that Nancy Guthrie was dead, that she had died shortly after being taken, that she was buried. Think about what that means. Think about what the family was going through. They had received messages saying Nancy was safe, scared but safe. And then they got a message saying she was dead. She had been dead for days. She was buried somewhere unknown. And the ransom note was asking for money to get her body back. Now here is where Savannah Guthrie's response makes perfect sense. Days after that second ransom note came in, Savannah posted a message. She said, "We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace." Everyone has been puzzling over that message for months. What did she mean, celebrate with her? Why that specific language? Now we know. She was celebrating with her mother in terms of a celebration of life, not seeing her alive, not bringing her home alive, but bringing her body home so they could say goodbye. Savannah and her family knew Nancy was dead. The ransom note told them, and they were responding by asking for her remains so they could finally have closure. But 145 days later, they still don't have her. They still don't know where she is, and law enforcement is still searching. Now here is what Harvey Levin from TMZ revealed today that is especially important. Harvey received the first ransom note along with other media outlets, but then he started receiving additional communications from someone else, someone who claimed to know the kidnappers, someone who said he knew where Nancy was being held in Mexico. This person told Harvey that time was of the essence, that someone needed to pay for information, that Nancy was in Mexico and time was running out. But then days later, after the second ransom note came in saying Nancy was dead, this same person contacted Harvey again, and he said, "Time is no longer of the essence." Think about that. Think about the timing. Think about what that communication means. This person knew something. He knew when the situation changed. He knew when time was no longer critical, because Nancy was already gone. Harvey offered this person the $1.2 million reward. He told him they would keep him anonymous. He said they would work with the FBI, but this person said he was too afraid. He thought the kidnappers might come after him. He thought the authorities might blame him. And then Harvey had an incredible idea. He proposed doing a documentary. He would pay this person the reward money. They would follow the information. They would see where it led. Harvey went to the FBI and asked them if they would approve this plan. He said he wouldn't do anything to compromise their investigation. He just wanted to help. And the FBI agent who had been working with Harvey for months responded with, "That's interesting." And then he ghosted him. He never called back. He went silent. Harvey has called him 6 times since then. 6 times. And the FBI agent who had always been responsive has not returned a single call. That silence is telling. That ghosting is answering a question. Something changed, something shifted, and the FBI went dark. Now here is what the task force has actually been doing for 145 days. According to reporting today, the task force has been coming back repeatedly to the ransom notes, not because they solved anything else, but because they have nothing else. By default, they keep returning to those notes. That means the tips have dried up. The leads have gone nowhere. The 40,000 tips that came in during the first weeks have all been exhausted. And now they are examining the ransom notes over and over again looking for something they missed, because the ransom notes are their last hope. The second note said Nancy was safe but scared when it was written 2 days after she was taken. But then 4 days later, another note said she was dead. She had died during those 2 days. Or she was already dead and they lied in the first note. Either way, something happened in that window. Something went wrong, and the kidnappers had to send an apology. According to Howard Bloom's reporting, investigators believe this was a team effort. One person supplied the brawn, the other supplied the brains. One was the muscle, one was the mastermind. They think it was a local opportunist, someone who saw Nancy Guthrie as a payday, someone who knew her house, someone who may have worked in her neighborhood, someone who saw her connection to Savannah as an opportunity to make money. But something went wrong. Maybe Nancy had a heart attack. She was 84 years old. She had health problems. She didn't have her medications. She was terrified. Maybe the fear itself killed her. Maybe the stress. Maybe there was violence and it went too far. Maybe they never intended to hurt her, but something happened that they couldn't control. And then they had to decide what to do. They had a dead body. They had no ransom victim. They had nothing to leverage except offering to return the body. So they sent a note saying she was dead. They asked for money to return her remains, and they apologized. But 145 days later, she still hasn't been returned. She still hasn't been found. She still hasn't come home. To Nancy Guthrie, to the family waiting for her, to Savannah who cries every single morning on her way to work, we have not forgotten you. The world has not forgotten you, and we are demanding answers about what happened during those critical first days when you were taken. The ransom notes say you died. The investigation has gone cold. The task force is searching by default, not by discovery. But we know the truth now. We know what the second note said. We know it was an apology. We know you were taken and you died, and the people who took you tried to profit from your death. And 145 days later, nobody has been held accountable. Nobody has been arrested. Nobody has been charged. Your family is still waiting. Your grandchildren are still asking where their grandmother is. Your daughter is still crying every morning. And the people who took you are still out there, free, unknown, unpunished. To the person who knows something, to the person who sent Harvey those messages, to the person who knows where Nancy's body is. You have the chance to end this. You have the chance to give her family closure. You have the chance to finally bring her home. The reward is $1.2 million. Completely anonymous. No name, no identification. Just information that brings Nancy home. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Pima County Sheriff, 520-3514900. Share this video right now. The more people who know the truth about these ransom notes, the more pressure on everyone to finally speak. Nancy Guthrie deserves to come home. Her family deserves closure. And the truth deserves to finally come out. 145 days is long enough. 145 days is too long. Bring Nancy home.